All right, how we doing? So now we are going to progress on. These are actually the ones that can be utilized if you're out of the house, if you're at the office, if you're kind of out in the community doing things, running errands, if you're at work, whatever. So these, you don't need a lot of space. You don't need to lie down. You can just do standing where you happen to be. So first things first, and this is very basic. Most people are aware of this, but we just want to make sure you're doing it properly. So most people will do some hip flexion and do some hamstring stretching, which is all well and good. But what I like to do is I like to incorporate some other things into the mix there. So what I want to do is I'm going to keep my head up, keep my scapula retracted, so my shoulder blades want to be back. It's basically like if someone were to stick a marker in between your shoulder blades, you want to pretend that you're holding that marker there and you don't want to let that go. So now I'm going to have a slight bend at my knees. I'm going to bend down at my hips while I keep my shoulder blades back. Chin up is going to help me, excuse me, I just had the hiccups, it's going to help me to maintain the flat back. So I'm going to come down, I'm going to exhale as I stand back up. Inhale as I come down, hold that for a 2 count, exhale as I come up. Inhale and exhale. Now, some things that we need to take into account here. If you try to keep your knees straight and you flex at your hips and you're having any sort of lower back pain, that will absolutely, positively make that back pain more substantial for you. So if your knees are locked and you're flexing your hips, your range of motion will be very much limited before you start to feel that shooting pain coming through. So we always want to start with a little bit of bent knee to try to alleviate a little bit of that. As you start to progress through your treatment, then you can start to straighten your knees. Or on the other hand, if your treatment team wants you to work on it with a straight knee, you need to be aware that your range of motion is going to be limited. So with myself, if I keep my knees locked and I do the same exact thing, then I can only come down to here before everything just locks straight up on me. So really be aware of that. So that is basically a body weight deadlift variation that we're using to get blood flow into the area, and we're using it as a stretch. And now the next one, this is really straightforward. It looks kind of silly, but it works fantastically well. So we're going to want our feet about hip width, maybe a tiny bit wider than hip width, nice stable base, and we're going to pivot at the waist and at the hips. So you want to really take it easy when you're getting used to this. So just a slow pivot, look over your shoulder. Don't go too far with your neck, or you can tweak your neck. You want to keep it kind of neutral, just beyond. So if this is neutral, I'm going to go just a little bit past, and then I'm going to come back. And so I'm reaching behind with my left and around with my right. And then as you get more comfortable, then you can start getting a little swing. So once again, make sure that you have a bend in your knees. If your knees are locked and you're turning at the hips, then all of that rotational force is going to go into a fixed point, which is going from your knee down to your ankle into the floor, and that's no good for your knees and hips, or excuse me, for your knees and ankles. So a little flexion at your knees, so a little bend, a little flexion at your ankles, and that's going to give you that extra range of motion in order for you to start getting a little bit of swing going here. And once again, nice and gentle to start. We don't want to do anything quick. We don't want to do anything explosively at this point in time. It's just getting some blood flowing and getting that area to loosen up. As you get a little bit more loose and a little bit more comfortable, then you can come and put a little bit more pep in your turn there. And you'll notice that my arms are coming across, and this is actually helping me to stretch out my shoulders and a little bit of the musculature through my back. So very straightforward. So we had our body weight deadlift variation, we had our standing twist, and now this is one that I came up with I don't know, probably a year or so ago. I got some pretty unique issues that I have. So what I'll do is I'm going to, actually might need to adjust the camera for this. Give me 1 second. Alright, so on this one, I'm going to go down like I was in my deadlift. So I'm going to bend my knees, I'm going to bend at the hips,
and I'm going to let my arms drop down. But now, instead of coming up at the hips, I'm going to primarily work through the range at my knees. So I'm going to come down and up, drop down and up. So I'm keeping my lower back and my hips stationary, and I'm doing the work through my knees. Now this is really giving me a great stretch through my hamstrings and through my lower back, and the added benefit that it gives me, because I have a lot of ankle and Achilles problems, is as I'm bending and going down, it's giving me some stretch through my Achilles and through the gastrocnemius soleus complex, which basically is your calf muscles. So this is a great exercise. So we just did 3 super simple exercises. All we need is about 4 square feet of floor space here, you know, a 2x2 section, and we're working on your hamstrings, hips, and lower back just by doing those couple exercises. Once again, 20 to 30 seconds each. Go through 2 times. That's 4 to 6 minutes. Alright, so thanks for stopping by. I hope everyone has a good day, and like I said, incorporate these in right before I get out of bed. I'm doing the lying work, and then multiple times throughout the day I'm doing the standing stuff. So you wanna end up doing as much as you possibly can. I don't care if it's 2 minutes at a pop, but just add a whole bunch of those into your day. So thanks for checking us out, and get moving.